How's it going, guys? This is Luke from Coffee House, and today we're going to talk about instant coffee, one of the most hated products in our industry, which is funny. I've always thought of instant coffee as being like a really unique corner of the market that a lot of people didn't really love, but clearly something is very, attractive about it. Many people consume instant coffee on the day-to-day. And today we're going to talk about what I've found to be the best way to brew instant coffee in the instance you were making instant coffee. The first thing I want to do is talk about quality of ingredients. That's a very important thing, as you all know. And so what we want to talk about here is kind of a two-parter. One, let's talk about the instant coffee. What you want to do is, despite it being instant coffee, it's not going to be, as high quality or as expectant of quality as you would like regular fresh beans. But another thing that's important is, knowing where this is from, knowing that your instant coffee comes from a good place, good beans, good coffee. And there are a couple unique producers of quality instant coffee. I'll let you guys do the research. I don't want to give anybody kind of like, the slight and give somebody else like a positive review just yet. I haven't tried them all yet, so maybe we'll do that in a future video. But good quality instant coffee would be your number one. And then number two is good quality water. This is something we talk about all the time. So if you're looking to keep it on the cheap, we've got those third wave water packets. I really enjoy them, and that's what we're using today. But yeah, so, I wanted to do this video to show you what I think makes a huge difference in terms of quality of, an instant coffee. And maybe next time you don't need to pack a flare and a kettle and everything for your next camping trip. Maybe you just need some of this and some hot water. So let's get into the recipe and go from there. All right, so most instant coffee recipes tend to call for kind of some random metrics for weighing out, and measuring your dose and everything like that. But, most of them say a heaping teaspoon. And so a heaping teaspoon we've found is about 2.5 grams. So what I'm gonna do is weigh out 2.5 grams here. And then what I'm gonna do is close that up. What I'm going to do then is add 20 grams of room temperature or cold water. Room temperature I've found to be the best. It doesn't have to be cold and it doesn't have to be room temperature, but we're doing 20 grams of room temperature water here. And then what you're going to do is take some spoon, or you don't need a spoon, I guess, but it helps, and you're going to just agitate. What you're doing here is dissolving all of the the actual crystals themselves, and just essentially making kind of like this like concentrated slurry, which is good because you don't want to have to do all of that dissolution when you're adding hot water, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But so I'm going to go ahead and stir this for 30 seconds or so, and then make sure all of those little coffee bits are off the side of my spoon and everything like that. And then once we have our 20 grams of kind of like instant coffee slurry, what we're going to do is add some hot water to this, and I'm going to add another 180 grams, totaling 200 grams. But this is the part that's really important, and I want everyone to pay attention. What we're doing here is brewing with water that is ready to drink temperature. We're not doing boiling water, and we're not doing 207, anything like that. I have this at 177 right now, so anywhere between 170 and 180 is kind of the optimal drinking temperature. Instant coffee is very sensitive and very willing to kind of burn and experience kind of like that burned taste if you use boiling water. So if we were to dump just a thing of boiling water in with the grounds and the grounds themselves, it would taste very, very different. And I think that's how most people do it. So let's go ahead and add that 180 here now. And so after we add the 180 of the 177-ish degree water, we're left with a cup of coffee. You get about what they call 6 ounces of coffee. We did about 200 grams in total, when adding the little slurry and then 180 grams of water, and we're left with coffee. By no means this is going to taste like fresh roasted coffee, through a pour over or any type of like Mocha Master machine like that. But what you are going to get is a better tasting cup of instant coffee. And so if you have your water controlled and you have your coffee controlled, to at least you know where it's from, your instant coffee is going to taste a lot better. There's a lot of uses for instant coffee and a lot of conveniences involved in using instant coffee. So there's situations like when you're camping, like I mentioned, you're making some Greek-style frappes or things like that. It really pays to have some high-quality instant coffee. So that's our recipe. A little bit different than traditionally just kind of scooping some stuff in and pouring boiling water. I haven't seen a lot of people kind of do this cooler temperature water and that kind of room temperature bloom, you could call it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it tastes much better compared to regular instant coffee, traditional brewing method. I think what you get out of this is you get less of that watery, almost like burned taste out of the instant coffee, and you get a little bit of depth of flavor. By no means is going to replace traditional cup of coffee, but it gets you a little bit of the way there. And for me, when we kind of relate this to like the commercial experience, which is what we're all about, we want to best replicate what we get at the cafe level. And for me, this is as close as we can realistically get with instant coffee. I like it. This is the way that I'm going to do it, and having this where you're not able to access the tools that you need to brew your coffee, I think this is a really, really nice cup of coffee at the end of the day. But yeah, so again, try it yourself, compare. I did a lot of blind taste testing, and I got to the point where I could instantly recognize, what was what. And it's cool to be able to see something like that, like to see that there is a big change with just these kind of, temperature control steps. So anyways, that's how we do our version of instant coffee, or kind of our brew method. I thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you try this at home. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. We really want to try more recipes with this because this is such an attainable product. This is so available and useful in so many different ways. I really stand behind it, and even though instant coffee isn't going to be 100% where it was, and it historically has never been all too great, it's something that I think has a place in the market and something that I think is worth spending some time researching on. Anyways, I'm Luke from Coffee House. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Done.